my fifth grade friends. I've got a treat for you this week. I'm going to read you a story called Home for Christmas. The author is Jan Brett, and she's also the illustrator. We have a lot of her books in our library, so if you've never seen her stuff before, you are in for a treat. She is a phenomenal illustrator. I mean, just the detail on the pages is amazing. This book has a Lexile of 780, and it is worth 2 reading counts points. So when we're done, you can take the test on this one. Remember, it's called Home for Christmas by Jan Brett. Okay? And you might notice that my favorite animal in the entire world is on the cover. Yes, that is a moose. I'm wearing antlers right now, although I think these are supposed to be reindeer antlers, but you know. And so let's look at this story called Home for Christmas. All right. And there's the picture on the inside cover. Like I said, lots of detail. Every page has these amazing borders on it that have lots of little small pictures in the borders as well. Rollo was a wild troll, a very wild troll, always racing off, his scruffy troll tail bouncing around behind him. Troll tails will drop off one day, but only if the troll is kind, helpful, and does his chores. Rollo's little sister had lost hers long ago, but Rollo didn't care one bit. He just did whatever he wanted. There's Rollo, and there's his tail. And of course, he's riding on a pig. So he does whatever he wants. Rollo never made his bed for Mama Troll. He never chopped wood for Papa Troll. He never helped little sister collect eggs. One morning when they all asked for his help, Rollo had had enough. No, 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 he whooped, and he grabbed his rucksack, leapt over their heads, and ran toward the mountains. Mama Troll looked at Papa Troll and shook her head sadly. The chances of Rollo losing his tail are mighty slim, she said. So there they are, watching him. And you can see in the details there he is running away. And you see over here, there's even an owl watching over him. Rollo walked along, getting hungry and tired. Where would he spend the night? He spied an owl's nest up in a tree. Hooray! Rollo shouted. It's up this tree for me. He climbed up and snuggled down among the owlets as Mother Owl looked on. When the little birds opened their mouths wide, Rollo opened his too. Yum! Free food, he thought. Sleepy and full, he dozed off, tucked under Mother Owl's warm, fluffy feathers. No bed to make here, he mumbled. So here we can see in the border, there's his family all worried about him. And there he is in the owl's nest. And there's the mother owl getting some food for him. But this lazy life didn't last long. The owlets grew fast, and the nest got crowded. They spent hours flapping their wings until the day came for the owlets to fly. Mother Owl glared at Rollo, but he didn't move. So she bumped him out of the nest. Can't you see I don't have wings? Rollo screeched. So we can still see what's going on back home. His sister's collecting the eggs all by herself. And there's the little owls learning how to fly. And there's the mother owl, and she's glaring at him. And he's going, I don't have wings. I can't fly. And then over here in this picture, we kind of get a glimpse as to what's going to happen on the next page. Rollo shook the feathers out of his hair and strode through the forest, leaping and chasing field mice as he went. He hadn't gone far when he spotted Mother Bear watching her two cubs rolling around and roughhousing in the grass. So there's what's going on there. We can see back at home, there's still work being done. But there's Rollo playing with the bear cubs, rolling around and roughhousing. Rollo dove in, cuffing the cubs and tickling their noses. Mother Bear didn't care. Now she had 3 naughty creatures to watch over instead of 2. That night, Rollo followed the bears to their mossy cave and fell asleep, curled up with the bear cubs, mumbling, "No wood to cut here." So there's Mama Bear. She was looking on. And there's a little glimpse as to what's going to happen. There's a bee. As the days passed, it got harder for Rollo to keep up with the bears. They had tough paws and sharp claws to help them scramble over rocks and trees and climb trees looking for food. Then at the end of summer, Mother Bear spotted a hive. She opened it up with a big swipe of her paw, and delicious honey gushed out. So we can see what's happening here. There's the family back home, looking very upset, holding up one of his old sweaters. And there's Mama Bear, knocking over the hive and getting all the honey out. It had been a long time since Rollo had tasted anything so sweet. He shoved the baby bears aside. Big mistake. The angry bees aimed their stingers at him. Rollo threw himself into a nearby pool and dove under the water. So you can see all the angry bees coming after him, and he had to dive into the water. And we get a peek. What's going to happen next? Seems to be some sort of otter in the water. Rollo floated up, the taste of honey still in his mouth. "Oh, I wish I had some of little sister's sweet noseprint cookies," he thought. "Maybe I should go home." But he saw a gang of otters playing on the waterfall. "Wait for me," he cried as he scrambled out, threw off his wet clothes, and dove back in to slide down the waterfall. "This is the life for me." So here he remembers the smell of his sister's cookies. But then he gets sidetracked by the otters and decides, "Oh, that's even more fun." So he's going down the waterfall. And there's a glimpse as to what's going to happen on the next page. One morning, Rollo awoke to find a thin skim of ice on the pool. Otter didn't give it any mind, but Rollo could not stop shivering. He put on his clothes, stuffed his boots with moss, waved goodbye, and went on his way. Meanwhile, back at home, there's his family. There's Rollo having to get warm. The otters don't care that the water's cold and icy, but he doesn't have any warm fur. And then peeking at the next page, you can see what's going to happen next. Looks like a lynx to me. It was snowing when Rollo met up with a new friend who was as wild as he was. Lynx liked to play pounce and hide and seek. So did Rollo. While they were romping in the snow, little sister was at home feeding his hedgehog for him. "Rollo may be gone for now," she said, "but we miss him every day." So there's his sister feeding the hedgehog. And there's Rollo playing with the lynx. It got colder and colder. The lingonberries froze and food was harder to find. One afternoon, Rollo felt Lynx's eyes staring at him in a hungry way. It was time to move on. I think Lynx is starting to get hungry too and is looking at Rollo like he's a good dinner source. And on the next page, it looks like we're going to get to finally see my favorite animal. The drifts got deeper. Rollo's nose was turning blue when he noticed moose tracks, big and little. He followed them up the mountain to a meadow where he saw Father Moose, Mother Moose, and their calf standing in the snow. Hi-ho, he called and pranced over to them. Rollo made friends right away. He found berries and lichen under the snow where Father Moose had scraped away the ice with his hooves. He ate and ate while the moose calf drank some warm milk from Mother Moose. So there he is thinking about home, but then he meets the moose. Look at how majestic these creatures are. There's the Father Moose with his big rack of antlers, and the Mother Moose, and of course there's the baby moose. Rollo spent the night with the moose family. The next morning he was so happy to be with them that he jumped up expecting to get a big hug from Mother Moose, just the way his mother hugged him at home. But Mother Moose was not used to the cold, pointy troll nose pushing into her soft, warm nose. She tossed her head and galloped off, leaving Rollo sprawled in the snow. So she doesn't like his pointy little nose. That night, Rollo was riding along on Father Moose's antlers when the antlers began to sway. Oh no, Rollo shouted, holding on tight. Winter is when moose shed their antlers. And so he found himself tumbling down, landing in a snowdrift. So there he is riding on Father Moose's antlers, but they're falling off. So he finds himself in a snowdrift. He was brushing snow out of his eyes when he smelled the smoke from a wood fire. That's coming from my house. He imagined a warm fire inside, the good food in his soft bed. Most of all, he remembered Mama and Papa's big hugs and little sister laughing at his jokes. He began to sniffle and cry. There's his house right there. And he's sniffling and crying. As Rollo's sobs grew louder, the antler began to rock. Back and forth on the slippery snow, it started sliding down the mountain faster and faster, bouncing over icy boulders and skidding across frozen rivers. It was an antler toboggan. I will say this, guys. Down here in Georgia, a toboggan is a type of hat. But if you're from up north, anywhere in the northern part of the country, or Canada, or Russia, or anywhere where they get lots of snow, a toboggan is actually a type of sled. It's not a hat. So that's what they mean. It was an antlered toboggan. So he's using it as a sled. Okay. Rollo spotted his little house down in the valley and his sobs turned to whoops of joy. So he's sliding down the mountain using the antlers as a toboggan. Rollo's family was on their way home with their Christmas tree when they heard whoops echoing down the mountain. They knew in an instant that Rollo had come home. They rushed to meet him as fast as they could. So there's his family bringing the Christmas tree home. I guess the pig gets to pull it through the snow. But they're very happy when they see him coming down the hill. On Christmas Eve, the troll family gathered to light the holiday candles. Mama, Papa, and little sister looked around proudly at the beds Rollo had made, the wood he had chopped, and the cookies little sister had baked with the eggs that he had gathered. Paw Patrol grinned as Rollo leaned forward to light a candle. "Have you lost something, Rollo?" he asked. Rollo just smiled. "I'm home for Christmas," he caroled. "For the best Christmas ever," little sister sang. The cat just purred. He had a new toy. So what do you think that Rollo lost? Let's look at the pictures here. There's his family all very happy. There's the beds that he made properly. So he did his chores. All right. And if you look at his bottom, he no longer has his tail. And I love this picture. There's the cat playing with his tail as a little new toy. Kind of looks like a mouse, doesn't it? I bet my cat would do that too. I don't know. What do you think, Sammy? My cat's sound asleep in the chair with his head upside down. Isn't that cute? Sammy? No, I think he's sound asleep. Alrighty. Last page. After the feast, the troll family sat by the fire, home for Christmas all together, singing and telling stories far into the night. There they all are. So hopefully from that story you have learned a very valuable lesson that if everybody does their share, if everybody helps out and does their chores and what their responsibilities are, then it makes it easier for everyone else. So don't be greedy and expect everybody else to do your work for you. Help out. Offer to do some chores. Your family would really appreciate it. And it would show how much you're growing up. And if you had a tail to lose, maybe you lose your tail too. Hopefully you enjoyed Jan Brett's Home for Christmas. Don't forget to go take the reading counts test on this now so that you can get an extra 2 points. And guys, if I don't see you in the hallways over the next couple of days, then I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will see you in January when we come back. Take care. Enjoy your holidays, guys. Bye-bye.